Welcome into the EMAW Online 2-minute drill. I'm Mason Voth. That's Alec Bussey from EMAW Online with Rivals as the Wildcats win the Sunflower Showdown 47-27 tonight. And the bigger point is they punched their ticket to the Big 12 championship game, their first appearance there since 2003 when they smashed Oklahoma. So we'll see what happens when they face a top-ranked TCU team that has hopes of playing for a national championship this year. The game, started off kind of odd. K-State got the ball first. They go 3 and out. And KU muffs the punt. And K-State immediately gets it. They score on the very next play. So you feel like the energy's there. But Kansas responded really well in the first half. K-State didn't have many answers there. The tackling wasn't very good. What did you think when we got to halftime of this game?
Yeah, I thought Kansas State was really fortunate that they were able to get that touchdown after the muff punt, and then I thought they were pretty fortunate as well to get the safety. That 9-point buffer that Kansas State had, I really thought gave them some comfortability going into halftime, especially after Kansas wasn't able to capitalize on those two possessions shortly before halftime. Obviously, the one started inside the 10, and then the other one started around the 30, 35, I would say, after Will Howard's fumble. So to see Kansas struggle to score on those two possessions and then to see them struggle to score again after halftime, I feel like that was a huge opportunity for Kansas to kind of gain some momentum in this game, Mason, and they didn't on any of those 3 drives. And after that, it just kind of felt like K-State had good control of the game.
Honestly, kind of similar to the game that played out last week in Morgantown where K-State scores immediately, but West Virginia has an answer in that first half. So it feels like there's going to be this little back and forth. The K-State defense struggled, but in the second half, they picked things up a little bit more. They were much better. Kansas only ends up scoring 6 points in the second half of the game today. So things went a lot better in that department. But what are some of the concerns you have going into next week's game against TCU?
Yeah, I'm certainly a little bit concerned about how much Kansas was able to run the ball with success in the first half. I know at one point in the first half, Kansas was averaging over 8 yards per carry. In the second half, they did a much better job of stopping down Kansas's rushing attack and slowing down Jalen Daniels and Neal for the Jayhawks. But it's still kind of a little bit concerning, and obviously the back half with some of the injuries that they've had, particularly at the safety position, with Kobe Savage going down and obviously Sincere Mason going down. I thought Drake Cheatham had a pretty solid game overall, but behind him there seems to be a lot of questions, and we've seen this defense kind of struggle a little bit to put together long stretches of really quality play. And next week when you're playing a really good TCU team with arguably the Big 12's best and most explosive offense, they're going to need to play a really good game, I think, for a long period, likely 60 minutes to get a win.
Well, multiple guys mentioned after the game that their signals on defense and some of the things that they had to do, they weren't necessarily the best at in the first half. They had to improve upon that, and that's something that I've harped on for the last couple of weeks because we saw it when Brents left the game against Texas that they were lost for a little bit without him out there. It took them some time to find themselves. They're going to have to make sure they play a full 60 minutes next week against the Horned Frogs. The good news, the offense still looks as good as ever with Will Howard under the center. He threw the ball all over the place in the first half, and then he only throws 2 passes in the second half, but that's because 3. Okay, 3 it is. I heard somebody say 2. I was going to take their word for it. But Deuce Vaughn ran well in the second half. That was a big deal. A lot to like there. And also good news, K-State and TCU, you don't have to wait around all day for the big game next week. It'll kick at 11 a.m. College game day will be in Arlington at AT&T Stadium for the Cats and the Frogs as they play for the Big 12 title. It would be K-State's 3rd Big 12 championship if they were to win next week. That'll do it for Alec and I. We'll see you in Arlington next weekend.
Subscribe to EMA Online. We have a good deal going right now. If you watch this on YouTube and you don't subscribe.
That is a great point. That's why he's the number 1 around here.